Good afternoon, one and all. I, K. Rani, on behalf of IEEE Vizag Bay Section, welcome you all for today's webinar on education goals and immersive learning. And I'm honored to introduce our guest, Mr. Vanshaj Arora from Avidia Labs. Avidia Labs bridging the gap between future requirements of the new and our children by using cutting edge technologies, extended reality, virtual reality, and augmented reality. So, about today's topic, the term education generally refers to the ease to learn, acquiring knowledge, skills, or positive values. The main goal of education is to prepare students for life, work, and citizenship by training their knowledge and skills. Immersive learning uses technology to engage your senses that a traditional lecture might not be able to accomplish. In other words, immersive learning is a type of learning where also feels that they are the learning environment, just like they are typically performing a task as they would do in a real life. As emerging technologies, AR and VR have been widely applied in the education subjects. So, over to you, sir. So, now I request Mr. Vanshaj Arora to please carry on with the session.
So much, Vindhya. I hope I'm audible just to make sure that
Yes, sir, you're audible.
so I will just share my screen, and then I'm Vanshaj Arora basically, and I mentor of change associated with Avidia Labs, and we
Yes,
are
Aurora,
working.
you can share your screen and you can start.
Yeah. Yeah. Is it visible?
Yeah, visible.
Okay. So today's topic, as you all can see on my screen, is educational goals and immersive learning. By immersive learning, we actually bring learning to life. Today, we are going to understand how we can actually integrate immersive learning in our current educational platforms and actually bring the learning that we we provide our students with it at a larger scale to actual life. Starting with its ability to help learners absorb and retain material in a whole new way. Immersive learning can boost learning engagement and retention across industries and applications. Right now, a lot of boom is there where we listen that we hear that there is a loss of retention. We are not having people who can actually retain a lot of knowledge with the coming of short form content from Instagram to YouTube to all sorts of technology which provide and boost the short form of content. The retention is decreasing day by day. Whereas today we have AR and VR, augmented reality and virtual reality, which is doing the exact opposite. It is actually helping us increase the retention across industries and applications. Before moving forward, let's have a quick look at how Microsoft is changing the horizon learning with its new hardware that is called the HoloLens. Just let me know if you guys can actually view the video clearly. If it is not, just let me know. So I hope that you saw that how these people, bunch of engineers, are working at Microsoft towards this collective goal of bringing the whole HoloLens product that they are creating, and how they're actually building towards bringing augmented reality. Here, what you saw was augmented reality. There are a bunch of holograms which can be implemented in with your real world, and through the medium of a lens or a basic product that they will create, you can actually view how products are interacting with the real environment. Product can a piece of material can be a hologram, and it can interact with the environment, with your table in front of you, right? So this is something that people at the USA are already working a lot on, and the 60% of higher education institutions are already on their paths to use VR to create an enhanced simulation and learning environment. Coming to the next slide, that says today towards vivid learning experiences. Today we'll be understanding how vivid learning experiences can be created using our experiences in virtual and augmented reality. Rather than sitting with an old-fashioned paper-based chart, imagine how powerful it would be for chemistry students to instead interact with 3D periodic table of the elements and learn through experimentation. How about enabling them to virtually add peroxide to potassium iodide and see the columns of foam that results? How excited would it be? How exciting would it be to explore a virtual railway station and learn how to buy a train ticket through simple conversation? Educational providers can now deliver all three of these experiences in a safe, controlled virtual environment with a focused educational outcome, learning the periodic table, experiencing chemical properties, as well as preparing to use public transportation at a particular locale. Immersive learning is about reaching a greater variety of learners through an environment that involves as many as of our five senses as possible. Particularly, that are the five senses that we have: the vision, sound, and touch, rather than through the traditional mechanisms of print, video, and audio. We have been teaching and we have been giving out knowledge from the print, audio, and video mechanisms since a lot of time now. Now it is the time to shift to the vision, sound, and touch sensory kind of experiences and actually help the students to do so. As a proof of matter that why visions, visuals, sound, and touching experiences can give a better understanding of our whole experience, we have the Edgar Dale's cone of experience. What the Edgar Dale's cone of experience says is that the impact of experience on learning outcomes is based on different sensory outcomes of our five senses. So if you can see clearly that what it says is that if 10% of 10% is what the people will retain or remember of what they are reading, 20% of what they hear, that they will retain, right? 30% of what they will see, they will retain it. 50% of what they say and hear and talk about with their peers, that they will actually retain 50%. Then coming down to 90%, that is what they will actually do when they actually design, actually analyze, evaluate, and create the things, the models, simulate models or an experience that they will learn through a 3D environment that they can immerse inside. So doing the real thing will always provide a much better learning curve and a better retention rate than just 10% of what they will just understand and retain from reading. This is how Edgar Dale's cone of experience works, and that is the base of why the sensory outcomes of experience through AR and VR are more successful and will be more successful than traditional methods of print, video, and general traditional methods. The world of immersive technology. There are different technologies that can be actually put in work when we are talking about immersive technology. Immersive word itself says that you actually get into the world, you can immerse into the learning experience and understand how it goes. So there are a bunch of ideas like virtual reality, which will actually allow you to interact in 3D with the material that is present inside the particular PC or the head model that the child or the learner is wearing. Gesture recognition allows the users to interact with applications in a different manner. They can actually help them to build things at a much faster pace with a sensory touch kind of an experience while they're learning things. Haptic technology allows for texture recognition through the user's fingerprints. Your fingerprints are used for recognition, and that technology is known as the haptic technology. Augmented reality enables interaction with 2D as well as 3D objects, which is the thing that we saw in the Microsoft HoloLens video, that how it is providing augmented reality and it is enabling the 3D characters and holograms to be present in the real world and helping us understand and visualize whatever is there inside the screen, behind the screen, on our own desks or on our own classrooms. Wearable devices that include the head-mounted displays bring learners into virtual worlds where they can learn by seeing and actually doing what they earlier used to only learn through reading. Speech interfaces provide ease of use. If we could just speak and provide the instructions to your computer, that helps you to learn things at a better pace. You're talking to the machine. This is how the method of evolution has been working. Before we went digital, before the digital revolution, there was a basic method of teaching that was one to many. A professor or a teacher would stand and teach the students at a normal way, that is to interact in a manner that everyone is sitting and there is no interaction between the students, but only one way interaction between the teacher and a group or a bunch of audience, those are students. After the digital world came in, one-to-one interaction through YouTube, through various methods of teaching. Even today we are using Microsoft Teams, we are using various platforms where recorded videos are available for students to learn at their own pace. And this is what we call the one-to-one method, where the student can actually interact with the environment at his own pace and learn on his own pace with the professor. Looks like he's not teaching a bunch of people, but he himself is teaching you. So that is another experience of one-to-one. Now, the next change, the big change that has to come in with the introduction of AR and VR in our educational practices is beyond digital. We need to go one to moment. The person, the child, the student, learner will actually be provided with headsets and they can go about into the virtual experience of realizing the moment that they are learning. So if there is an archaeological student, he can actually go into that archaeological site and experience what kind of digging and what kind of excavation practices has to be taken place while it is actually happening. Some places that are not safe enough for learners to go about it. We'll look at it in the further slides. So one-to moment is the goal. Safety. Virtual simulation environments represent another very important area of significant potential. In sectors where a traditional training environment would pose health and safety risks, a simulated environment such as a virtual factory would allow learners to test valuable skills and explore the outcomes of their decisions with no threat to their safety or damage to costly equipment. So it safeguards the equipment as well as the safety of the students, as well as the cost of actually training students to without with the cost of damaging equipment, right? So safety is one major uh, potential sector where augmented reality and virtual reality can help us achieve the right way of learning. Self-analysis. Immersive technology plunges students into virtual environments where they not only gain academic knowledge but also practice problem solving, critical thinking, and technical and creative skills, both individually as well as in collaboration with other students. More than simply asking students, immersive technology plunges students into virtual environments. They actually put them inside a virtual environment where they are not only gaining academic knowledge, but also they will practice the various skills. So, bringing learning to life through immersive experiences, questions, and having them provide an answer that's either right or wrong. Immersive learning empowers students to strategize and make their own decisions. So they learn from their own successes and failures. They just they will not ask a question from a teacher to have an answer, but rather just go ahead and interact with the environment and get the answer on their own, because there is no damage of safety. There is a safeguarded environment present where nothing can go wrong, and where everything that they want to understand, every question that they have while learning, they can just touch it, they can just interact with the environment, and they can understand through their own success and their own failures. And this is the best way to learn, according to a lot of studies. Immersive learning in the real world. We have talked about the theory and how actually immersive learning has been working a lot now. Let's just jump into how actually in the real world can we experience this amazing form of learning. All industries can benefit from immersive problem solving and the ability to tell stories aided by VR technology. Let us look at some of them in detail. In the science labs, students can perform measurements, conduct authentic lab procedures, and get real-time assistance with hand and body movement. You can dive into the real-time simulation with the computer-generated graphics and learn more about the simulation. Let's just look into this video that is present here and understand what we are talking about. As you just saw, how the different theories of atomic model from different scientists like Neil Bohr can be understood in the K-12 education using the different forms of AR and VR, where people can actually understand through 3D models rather than just looking at and creating the diagrams on our textbooks in the traditional method. So the science labs can actually provide you with a different 3D experience, and with not only the models that we just saw, but also when we can just mix chemicals virtually without the risk of getting damaged by the acids, by the getting the burns of a lab. we can actually experience how the procedures are taken forward. Secondly, comes the manufacturing. Companies in manufacturing can create 360-degree video manuals for equipment on the shop floor and in the field. Sales vertical of companies are using the features of augmented reality to give the real picture of the machine without driving. Also, it helps them boost the sales cycle as customer is now more aware about the product. So let's just jump into and quickly look at how the Toyota AR demo video has been placed here so that we can understand how it is actually working in the field of manufacturing. The car auto adjusts itself and you can see the inside model of the whole car. You can see the different parts that are functioning inside the car when it's moving. You can see the wheels rotating when they're actually not, but you can just view that how it is functioning, the whole process of the car. The engine can be viewed, and this is all through augmented reality. So when the consumer or the customer will actually look at the different parts that are present in the car, they will be much more aware about the product and will this will ease the sales funnel and the sales practice of the car of a car in the manufacturing field and lets the engineers on the back end also understand what kind of car, what kind of products or what kind of parts they have to use and how they can modify and enhance the parts at a minimal cost using the by looking by not even opening the car's parts. So this is how augmented reality eases the process of learning. Let's just get into the medical field where the virtual 3D anatomical models and surgical procedure simulations can accelerate the learning and retention. It is possible to learn through different these simulation. VR provides you the 360-degree of freedom to perform the surgical practice. And when you're practicing it, everyone can look at it. And the student, while practicing, there is no loss of life. You don't have to have any stigmas related to the procedures. And you can go ahead and do it in a virtual, safe environment without harming any animal life or any other form of life. Let's just look at how that works in the medical field. So as we just saw, not only the details of the 3D model, the red colored 3D model, that the rib cage that it was showing, but also the lighting and the different dimension and shadows in which it could cast the lighting according to your own will through a roof lamp that was present. All of this is very intuitive, and it is just a start of an era of learning the through the virtual reality methods, and it can be advanced to a whole full-fledged operation, a 3D operation, which can help the students to understand how the procedures are taken place in real life. For the law students, the immersive mock trials can aid in trial preparation by covering the court etiquette, by witnessing and the defense using the defense interactions, and how to make the opening and the closing statements. This is also a very crucial part for the law students. Immersive learning offers great potential to speed acquisition and retention of learning materials. The critical success factor is the ability to deliver the right content for each learner to achieve the desired learning outcomes. We had heard a lot of times that we cannot ask a fish to climb a tree. This is exactly what the virtual environment brings into our education system. It lets the student itself understand the kind of desired learning outcomes that they want to take out of that virtual experience without without an opinionated form from any teacher, from any professor, or from anyone. They interact with the environment. They have to understand how the environment is giving them the right kind of the what kind of content or the learning they give the environment gives them. They have their own will. They have the free will to take out their own learning outcomes, their desired learning outcomes. The technological growth. Earlier, we had a view, and in the world, we had a lot of word about the AR and VR headsets and the technology and the physical uh, the physical technical things that have to be the devices that have to be integrated with whenever we are putting a whole AR VR setup in the labs of our colleges or our schools. They were very expensive. They were expensive at a level that they could not be added at a mass level for every student to learn, and the cost of damage was also very high. But the pandemic has brought everyone close to digital reality. Recently, affordable VR setups such as the Oculus Rift, Oculus VR 2017B, and HTC Vive, HTC 2017, have overcome the challenges faced by earlier systems. There has been a noticeable growth in educational practices, applications, and exploring the VR and the augmented reality and the mixed reality systems that are available for us to use. And now they can be integrated at a much less cost. And the technological growth throughout the pandemic has been at a very high curve. Let's just look at this quick video. So this is how the virtual reality can actually be played not only in educational systems but also in office. Your office can move with you, your workspace can move with you, and you can work wherever you want without disturbance and complete the projects and works on time. So the technological growth, this is a proof. Video was a proof to actually understand that what is the ease of access of virtual reality and augmented reality setups now, right now, after we have come so close to the digital reality, to where the Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg is talking about the metaverse. So we are not far away from getting into a complete virtualized world, and we should not stay behind to actually get into complete our systems, completely transition our systems into digital VR and AR settings. Coming to the last part of our whole presentation and some of the most insightful things that the Avidia Labs is doing right now in the space of AR and VR in India. And so Avidia Labs came into existence with the inception to provide affordable, immersive, and breathtaking learning experience using virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed reality. It is very important to know the fusion of technology with the learning methodology because it solves the problem to a very large extent. For example, almost $5,000, approximately around 3.75 lakhs on a trainee cost is there for in a factory or a place where they need to, like the welding simulation that we will be just looking at in a few moments. These welding factories provide about $5,000 of training cost for these students, and this is only for just one resource, that is one student. Imagine if there is a batch of 10 people, it will be 37 lakhs, and for about 100 people, because that is an average number, 100 is an average number of the resources coming to these welding factories, welding work, and where the people have to be get adapted to the manual work of welding. The cost of the training will be going up to crores, which is huge, as the cost in this process are a liability. We at Avidia Labs understand this problem, and we converted this problem with digital solution, which is right now incorporated in the industry. You can check out the skill-based learning experience for the use case scenario of welding. Let's just look at how we have solved the problem for the welding industry. And this is how Avidia Labs actually cured this problem statement. And As you can see, the person who's wearing the headset can actually, without producing any light and sound, without producing any damage to any equipment, they can actually learn the process and the art of the manual training of uh, welding. Continuing about the Avidia labs, in the same reference of the problem statement, we have also launched our KidTech SaaS based platform called the Quick XR, which is particularly for the kids between 8 to 17 years. And you can always check out our videos that are present on our YouTube channel, as well as you can learn more about the QuickXR platform by going to the quickxr.com. As we know that our new education policy 2020 has introduced coding as the curriculum at early stages of learning, we have we have taken this on our shoulders to empower our young generation with the 3D tool, where they not only know how to design the game but also code in their own coding language using a block code system that is present and integrated with the 3D game engine, that is a kids game engine. The reason why we do this is to understand that why we want our upcoming generation to be the problem solvers. The need to have the good logical thinking, the good logical sense of problem solving and be actual problem solvers rather than doing just manual work. QuickXR is the cloud-based solution which provides the learner with the drag and drop editor interface with the power of generating immersive content in 3D, AR, and VR. You can, we'll just look at a short promo of the QuickXR platform that has been launched recently by Avidia Labs and understand how it works. So as you all know that the gaming industry is itself bigger than the whole media industry, and games are something that will never end in the whole environment. Whenever 3D comes in, AR and VR comes in, the industry has to flourish and flower even more, right? So QuickXR provides an exposure to the kids of the Gen Z to actually experience all experience from an age that is when they are just understanding how to study and solve the problems of the real world through 3D experiences. And the software QuickXR helps just in the same way. If you are interested to know more about this, you can check out on www.quickxr.com. So thank you so much to all the respected guests and gentlemen who were here. Thank you for having the patience to listening to me, and I hope I had provided some kind of value. Thank you so much. Over to you. Thank you so much.
Hello. Hello.
Sir, we have a question here.
You guys can have the questions. You can please go ahead with the questions.
What technologies can we use from this developments?
And Shadi?
How can we develop this technology?
We can develop these technologies in our own labs, and the main point is the content. You guys have to create the content when you can enable and set up the whole systems of AR and VR in the labs that are present in our colleges, and then we can create the content in the whole setup, and then we can enable the students to learn through them.
How can a software people access this? Uh, just we can access this technology.
You can access this technology as you have as in the college. There are a lot of engineering drawing has like CAD or like a 2D scenario. VR can teleport you actually into that location, and you can like learn with your peers through the students can learn with their peers in a 3D kind of location instead of just learning in a 2D and CAD kind of environment. So the professors can actually use this environment uh, for getting the students into interaction with uh, the 2D rather than the CAD or the 2D platform. We can shift to the 3D kind of experience. And you can actually, if you want to integrate these kind of technologies, as I mentioned in the presentation, there are like Oculus and HTC Vive devices. You can get them on Amazon or any other e-commerce store that is present. You can check that out there, and you can learn more about it, and you can get it installed within colleges.
Okay, thank you, sir. We have one more question.
Sure.
Sir, can we do any academic projects in this list? Hello, sir.
Yeah. Please go ahead.
Can we do any academic projects in this discipline? Can
Any?
you suggest some of them? Can we do any academic projects
What
in
kind
this
of
discipline?
projects? Economic.
Academics, sir. Academic.
Academic projects. Yeah,
Yes,
you
sir.
can, like as I just mentioned, like if in the engineering drawing perspective, if you are creating maybe in automobile engineering, if you are using the CAD to actually design the automobile or some car or other things, you can, as we saw in the videos while I was presenting the presentation, there were a lot of times some cars that were present, and you can use this technology to actually develop them in a much better manner, so that the AR can help you visualize how your design will be looking to be very niche. If I talk very niche about the CAD itself, you can understand how a car's bonnet will be looking, or how the headlights will be looking without even constructing them, right? So this is the practical use case that you can use when we come about this technology.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Any other questions?
Sir, we don't have questions. So,
Okay.
so thank you, sir. Thank you for such a wonderful session. We had a lot of uh, information about AR, VR, and how actually it is helping us in our education. So, thank you, sir.
Thank
So
you so much,
participants,
Vindhya.
if you
Thank you
have
for
any
having me.
doubts,
It
you
was a
can post.
pleasure.
Okay, participants, if you're
I
having any
guess,
doubts, you can post it in the chat box also.
yeah, sure. Please do that. I will be happy to answer any questions or doubts that anyone has in the meeting.
Okay, we did not get any questions, so thank you, sir. No more questions, and we can end the session now. So thank you, participants, and for this for joining this session, and thank you, sir, for such a valuable session.
Thank you so much, Vindhya. Thank you for everyone who had the patience to actually here with me. And thank you. I hope we will together take and bring the learning to life one day. Thank you.
Okay, all the participants, you can leave the session now.